Alrighty, so version 0.867 is finally here, and with it comes a lot of new changes and reworks, which I'm going to talk about. This is the kind of stuff I do with every update nowadays, and this one will be no different. The first thing that I'd like to address before I actually talk about those things though, is why in the background I'm beating up on AIs with Magician's Red. Well, the biggest reason obviously is that Magician's Red got a rework, so I want to show off the new moves and stuff, and so it would make sense to use that as background footage since it's the only thing that got reworked. But the reason that you're not seeing PvP gameplay, which is what I'd like to have put here, is for a few reasons. First of all, 1v1s is completely broken as of right now in that the update doesn't apply at all. I'm sure it will be fixed by the time you see this video, but as of the recording of it, if you queue into 1v1s, it'll queue into the old update, and so I can't play 1v1s. The update does apply to Steel Ball Run servers, and I tried to play Steel Ball Run, but it didn't really work out. Needless to say, when you're as prevalent of a community figurehead as I am, trying to play SBR by yourself is next to impossible, if not completely impossible. Especially when trying to do it with a stand that I don't really know how to use it or how it works yet. What I'm trying to tell you is that I joined maybe 5 or 6 different SBR servers, some casual, some competitive, and the result was the same in every single one of them, bar none. And that result was, oh my god, it's Eclipse, and I get ganked and die. Now, if I had people to play with, this wouldn't really be a problem, but I wanted to get this footage relatively quickly so I could get this video done, and I don't want to have to rope in anyone else into playing with me just so that I can get footage of this new crap. So instead, I'll just fight the bots, whatever, it's not the end of the world. So if you're wondering why there's no PvP footage, that's the reason. Anyways, when it comes to the actual update, we might as well start from the top. First thing on the docket, the Magician's Red rework. I complained about this stand and said that I was not going to do a review on it until it was changed or reworked, and it got changed and reworked. So now I'll probably have to review it, expect that sometime soon. But how I actually feel about the rework and my first impressions, I'll let you know right now. To be quite honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what to think. I don't really know if it's overpowered or not, considering that I haven't used too much of it in PvP. I can speculate though, and what I can tell you is some of the changes are really good, and some of them are highly questionable. But I'll just go through the changes one at a time, because why not? First thing to note, and the hands down biggest change, is to Red Bind. Red Bind was replaced completely with a new move, where you basically have a Sword of Fire almost, and you swing it forward, and it has 2 hits, and on the second hit it binds them just like the old Red Bind did. Difference here being the hitbox is a lot more clear on where it's going to hit, and the move is blockable now. Only problem is, it might be blockable, but it's so fast that it's just about impossible, if not completely impossible, to react to. It's so fast that if you're barraging and then you use it, I'm fairly certain that it true combos out of barrages. That's terrifying. And it also kind of completely defeats the purpose of it being blockable. Means if you're ever gonna block it, you need to be preemptively blocking before it hits you. And with a stun as powerful as this one, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Never mind the fact that the move can't be canceled by getting hit anymore. That means that if you're getting comboed and you mash it, odds are you're not only going to break their combo, but you're gonna get the stun, and then you can do your combo, which does a ton of damage and is incredibly autopilot-y. So overall, Red Bind, some good changes, some bad changes, just like I said. Honestly, when it comes to Bakugo, I'm pretty much happy as it is. The move is still blockable but can no longer be parried, and it doesn't get canceled when you get hit anymore. And since this move does a decent amount of damage, but it knocks down so you can't combo off of it, I think it having these properties is probably fine and is not that huge of a deal. I can see people making the argument that maybe they should pick one between being able to be canceled or being able to be parried. Personally, I would go with it not being able to be parried but can be canceled, because being able to parry blockable moves is dumb. But overall, I don't think it's a huge deal, and I think it's in a good place now. As for Crossfire Hurricane, this one was radically changed and actually split into 2 moves. The move that most resembles the old Crossfire Hurricane is Crossfire Hurricane Special. This move shoots out 3 crosses just like the old one, but only one of those crosses can hit at a time. thank God. This move's also blockable, which kind of surprised me. It's definitely good that it's blockable because it's really, really easy to hit, but it's still kind of surprising that they did this, and I'm glad they did. I'm pleasantly surprised. And the other Crossfire Hurricane, which replaced the original Crossfire Hurricane, only shoots one cross in front of you. This cross is unblockable, and once it hits a surface, it has a secondary explosion that does some more damage and leaves a flying circle of fire around where it exploded. And if people walk into that, they continue to take damage. Overall, like I said, the Magician's Red rework is kind of scary, but on the other hand, I don't know, I would probably rather have what we currently have than the old one, because the old one was absolutely miserable, and a lot of the problems that the old one had should hopefully be fixed now, but now this new one could introduce some new problems. But in all honesty, only time will tell when it comes to this stuff, and so as I always say, don't believe the people that are coming out here and making day one videos saying it's broken or it's balanced, because it just came out and they don't know what they're talking about yet. Give it maybe a week before you make these kind of calls. If you either get complacent right away or complain right away before you give it a shot, that's how we end up with balancing nightmares where we get over-nerfed and over-buffed stuff. If you're that kind of person, don't be that kind of person. Just give it some time. Now that we've wrapped up the biggest part of this update, we'll start moving on to some of the smaller changes. The first one being there are new models for both Cream and White Album. I'm sure it comes to the surprise of absolutely nobody that both of the new models look great. Whoever's in charge of the models always does a great job, so I'm not entirely surprised by this one. The White Album one is kind of jank towards the mouth portion, but I think that's because of my avatar and not because of the stand model itself. So overall, I'm happy with these. Like I said, not hugely surprising. Next up, they've once again added new effects to both the Stand Barrage and the Stand Barrage Clash animations. The new Barrage effect has a nifty little animation with some blur on your punches to make it seem like there are even more punches than normal and that they're going very quickly. And the Barrage Clash effect is a little over the top with these massive white explosions going everywhere. Don't get me wrong though, it looks awesome. It's over the top in a good way. Sea Moon is no longer a mute, so I'll let you take a listen to those if you'd like. There's new visual effects for Gold Experience Requiem's Awakening. I'll be honest with you, I kind of prefer the old one. I don't really know what it is about that one, but it just seemed a little bit more threatening than this one. I mean, the new one looks awesome. It really does, but the old one just kind of had a charm to it. Maybe I'm just wearing my nostalgia goggles. I probably am, but I kind of like the old one, and I'll miss it. Now, the next two I'm going to talk about I don't have footage for. The first one being the dashing being fixed finally. It wasn't actually part of this update. I think they fixed it earlier and then just didn't talk about it until now. I was kind of confused as to why it wasn't talked about when it was fixed, but here it is, so whatever. Really happy with this one. I was told by multiple different people that were close to development that this was impossible to fix, and so I'd pretty much lost all hope that it would ever happen and just accepted that the laggy players were going to be flying around for the rest of me playing this game. But heavens above, praise Uzu, he managed to figure out how to fix it, thank God, so I don't have to deal with that laggy the hand flying around anymore. And the other one is that they added end lag after using time stop. This one I don't have footage for because it doesn't really work. I don't know how to explain it to you, but there's definitely not any added end lag, at least on the World Over Heaven when I tested it. And when I was using it, there would be weird spikes like around the middle of my time stop where I wasn't able to use moves. So I think however this was supposed to be implemented, it didn't work, and so I'd expect whatever was supposed to happen to probably be fixed in the coming days. Not sure exactly what the desired intention here was, seeing as all really adding end lag to the end of time stop is gonna do is make it so that it's harder to try to kill people that have TS resist, and it's already hard enough to kill people with TS resist with time stop. but who knows, we'll see. The next change is a weird one. They made it so that your Haman, Rage Bar, and Blood Bar don't actually appear unless you have some of that resource available. I have genuinely zero clue why this was implemented, and I don't really see why it was. I feel like having less information available to me is not a great thing, so if there was a good reason for it, then I can see why it happened, but it just seems kind of odd that you just can't see how much of that you have if you don't have any. I don't know, maybe it's a nitpick, seems strange to me. With that though, there's not really any other huge notable changes. Everything else on here is bug fixes, and there's only one notable bug fix on there that I feel like I even knew about. Obviously, any bug fixes are good, so I'm happy to see that bugs that I didn't even know about are getting fixed, but the one that I did see that I knew was a problem, or at least was informed was a problem recently, was the fact that if you used Bites the Dust immediately upon the start of a 1v1 match, it would put you back into the lobby. This was a problem when 1v1s first came out, and I'm surprised because I thought it was fixed before, but apparently it wasn't. So I'm glad that they finally got to the bottom of it and fixed it now. Outside of that though, I'm really happy with the update so far. It's always good to see changes to things that are blatantly broken and need fixing, and so I think that's the most important thing that came out of this update, obviously, the Magician's Red changes. Outside of that, everything else that was added looks pretty cool. The changes, while some of them are kind of strange, all are just fine, so I'm not really super psyched over it, but I'm happy nonetheless. The only things that I wish I saw in this update that I didn't see are the King Crimson cheese and the King Crimson Requiem cheese getting fixed, which still haven't gotten fixed. Those two bugs are the exact same kind of BS that was going around way back in the King Crimson boxing days, when people would chop to knock you down, reality marble, and then barrage you and you'd lose almost all your health. It's the exact same thing, but again, with a different thing, and this time, both of those things being clear glitches. It's always strange to me that such blatant balancing bugs take so long to get fixed. I don't know, maybe they're just not aware of them? It does seem that oftentimes the developers are kind of cut off from how the actual meta of the game goes, so maybe I'll make a video dedicated to those two things, hoping that someone will see it and will get it fixed. Because at this point, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's tired of getting insta-killed by King Crimson landing one impale, or getting cheesed by some tryhard on ranked who's using the King Crimson Requiem glitch of putting the stand away during Raging Demon and then killing you while you don't have a stand. I feel like I'm probably going to go on for too long now though, and I'm a second away from complaining about time stop for the 30,000th time, so let's stop there before I get there. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. If you didn't enjoy the video and learned absolutely nothing, then don't do those things. And with all that being said, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.